Hi, this is Gail Fry, and this is Case Study Module 13, EDL 853, When a Student's Rights Are Wrong. We're going to summarize the case first. This is Nottingham High School in Dover, and it serves over 3,000 students. Most of the schools in this district meet the accommodations for individuals with disabilities, but however, there are a quarter of the schools that still need updates and do not meet the codes. The community is very supportive of this school. They rally around the football team every Friday night. And this story is kind of about this student, Miguel Hernandez, who moved to Dover because of the high school's reputation for being great in academics as well as its winning football team. So Miguel is only a sophomore, but he's a highly regarded football player, and he's the first sophomore to ever be a starting quarterback. Unfortunately, during the state semifinals game, he's throwing the winning touchdown pass, and he's tackled, and then he's unable to move. And so he's rushed to the hospital, where they find out that he is paralyzed from the waist down. So once he is ready to return back to the high school, the parents, they decide to meet with the school counselor, Ms. Gusman, and she, when they meet with her, they let her know that, he will be returning, but he doesn't need any more accommodations. However, he does need wheelchair accessibility. So this would this would give time for the school to allow for cultivating their equitable use of educational resources, but that doesn't get done. So when he returns to school, Ms. Gusman meets again with Miguel and lets him know, hey, we're going to remove you from your college prep biology class because it is not wheelchair accessible, and we're going to put you in another biology class, but it is not a college prep class. So the next day, Miguel's mother, understandably, is very upset. She wants a meeting. She shows up and lets them know that, he does intend to attend college, and so he needs his college prep class, and she demands that he be put back in the class. Prior to the meeting ending, Mr. Hernandez arrives with a family attorney, and that family attorney lets the principal know, hey, I don't know if you're aware of the 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, but that in this situation, you are denying Miguel the free and appropriate public education that he is required to have, and that he does need to be put back into the biology class, which is a college prep class. So we want to talk about who, and that's Miguel Hernandez. He's a star football player who was injured during the football game. He is now paralyzed from the waist down. Upon returning to school, Miguel's family told the school he would be using a wheelchair. Miguel was denied access to his college prep class, the biology class, due to this not having accessibility for a wheelchair. Without the school letting parents know, he was moved to another biology class that was not a college prep class, so the school is denying Miguel equitable access to educational resources. And where? The incident occurred at Miguel's high school. That's Nottingham High School in Dover. We're going to talk about legal and ethical issues here. The Rehabilitation Act of 1973 protects students with disabilities. It states that no student with a disability in the United States should be excluded from participating in or denied the benefits of any activity or program receiving federal funds. So this particular case does qualify for services through the IDEA Act, as well as the Rehabilitation Act, but it does not meet the requirements for the ADA Act, which is Americans with Disabilities, because that is discrimination in employment, not in school. So unfortunately, Miguel is being denied the right to attend a college prep biology class, and that's solely because he's in a wheelchair. So some ethical issues, I'm going to go back here and we'll talk more about some other legal issues. There are some procedural safeguards that are not being followed in this situation. One of them, and those are federal regulations. So one of them is the right of parents to participate in meetings regarding the placement of their child for free and appropriate public education. the right of the parent to receive prior written notice of their child's placement, and the right of the parent to give or deny consent of placement of the child. And another concern would be that the school district could also be held liable for Miguel's injuries during the football game that has left him paralyzed. It is a government agency, so they are shielded by the sovereign immunity. However, depending on the situation, some lawsuits can still be brought against districts. If that happens, the parents must notify the district of intent to sue, and they have to file a notice of intent for that. There is some inequality going on here, inequality bias, and there's evidence of that in this case due to not allowing Miguel to be in this class because it is not wheelchair accessible. This is an ethical issue that the school is committing, probably without meaning to do that. So we are going to synthesize here. A student is unlawfully being denied access to a class due to a disability. So fair isn't everybody getting the same thing. Fair is everybody getting what they need in order to be successful. In this case, Miguel is not getting that. It's not getting what he needs. And we're going to review and prioritize. After an accident during a football game that left him paralyzed from the waist down, a student, Miguel, is being denied access to a class due to being in a wheelchair and the class being inaccessible for wheelchairs. So the people here are Miguel, his parents, the Nottingham school principal, and the school counselor, Ms. Gussman. The place is Nottingham High School, which is located in Dover. It is, again, a high school with 3,000 students, and it's the only high school which was built in the 1950s. There are also 6 elementary schools here and 2 middle schools in this district. This is a school district that is very supported by their community. And then the program talked about 2 different ones. The Nottingham High School, which again, every Friday night, these parents come and cheer these kids on. They're very supportive, and it's the only high school in Dover. And then the other program that I want to talk about is IDEA, which is a law for students with disabilities. Section 504 of this law allows for free and appropriate public education, and that states that a student should not be denied access or excluded from any program that benefits them and receives federal funding such as public schools. All right, let's talk about possible consequences or options and consequences. So option 1, we could have Miguel stay in the accessible biology class and do not move him back to college prep class so that we could do nothing. The consequence would be that he's not going to receive the services he needs and deserves, and the school's breaking the law. And then also parents could sue. Option 2, have him stay in the accessible biology class, offer him college prep within this class so he can prepare for his future college career, and then explain to parents what you're doing, have them give consent. The problem with this, or the consequence, will be that schools still not following IDEA law, and parents may not be open to this because they now understand the law through their attorney, and they know that the school is obligated to provide Miguel with a free and appropriate public education. And then option 3 is go to the district board and let them know of the concerns that the classroom needs to be made accessible. In the meantime, before that gets done, move the class to an accessible classroom to follow all IDEA guidelines and send notes to all students and parents of students in this class about the movement of the class, not necessarily why, due to confidentiality. So I could see consequences here being that some parents may be upset about their child having to move. That can be addressed, of course, by the principal on a case-by-case basis. This is going to be moved for a teacher, so that might be an issue. And it is a biology class, so they're going to have certain supplies. An example would be seeing some laboratory areas for that. So they need to find a classroom that has that. Evaluate the options. Options 1 and 2, the law is still being broken, which allows for a possible lawsuit as well as hurt feelings. The school district may lose a lot of money going to court because they are breaking the law and several legal infractions occurred. But on the other hand, option 3, the law is being followed. There may be some parents who are concerned about their child moving into another classroom, and it will be inconvenient for the teacher having to move all of their teaching supplies as well as finding a classroom that has both, the laboratory and the sink, since it's a biology class. Choose the best option. In my opinion, the best option is option 3. All the schools in the district still need to be updated to meet IDEA standards for students with disabilities. And then when those, in the meantime, when those are being updated, which is going to take some time, the student needs to be given access to the class that he needs to take for college prep. So there should be no bias or inequality among these students just because of a disability. So option 3 follows the law and it meets the needs of the students. So implementing the decision. We're going to let parents know that, that we understand their concerns, and we're going to make sure that we ensure Miguel meets his needs are being met. I would contact the superintendent, make him aware of the situation and what needs to be done, meet with the board, with the superintendent, and proactively ask for the necessary updates to be made due to this situation and future situations that may arise while advocating for students with disabilities. I want them to know the plan that we will, in the meantime, while that's getting updated and things are going to, why it's made accessible, that we're going to change our classroom. Once it's approved, I'm going to talk to a teacher, let the teacher know, and then we're going to find an appropriate classroom that works for biology, and then we're going to help this teacher move. Also, we'll get custodial staff and other people as well as myself to make it an easy transition for the teacher. We'll have to send notices to students and parents about the change and send a notice of consent to Miguel's parents and be available for any questions or concerns they have. And then I want to set up a meeting with Miguel's parents to discuss these plans and involve Miguel by also letting him know of these plans and if he has any questions or concerns. All right, so I used 3 different APA references, so I've cited those here, and that is the end of my presentation. I thank you for listening.